Hi everyone, Monique here, Intuitive Soul Savant. Welcome to the channel, and this is where we are looking at Pluto's transits, transit Pluto to our natal sun or other planets. And today we are looking at the requirements of Pluto for our rebirth and for our transformation and then rebirth, and that is inner child work. So today is all about the inner child. Now, on my journey, having Pluto transit Capricorn for 5 years, I joined a 12-step group, and I pretty much did the work full time. And I'm going to pop that organization in the description box if any of this that I bring today sparks your interest. And that 12-step group is called ACOA, Adult Children of Alcoholics and Dysfunctional Families. So it was most beneficial. It was probably the key to my transformation with the Pluto transit, for sure. However, in saying that, I have a South Node conjunct the Moon in the 4th house, which is the house of family, ancestors, our roots. I also have Saturn square the Moon, that Moon in that 4th house. So there could be a heaviness and a propensity in your chart that requires you, for your soul's transformation in this life, to overcome many lifetimes of patterns that we have brought into this life. And in this life, our soul requires us to overcome those patterns. Firstly, I'd like to say this is not about beating up on our parents. It has nothing to do with that. We all have stories. Everybody has stories about their upbringing, and it's not really about the stories. It's about the emotional patterns and survival traits that we have taken on as our own to survive in life. Okay? It's a big topic. Now, just start by asking you to imagine this beautiful baby being born, yourself. It has everything it needs to be the potential of itself, and it is born into a family who love it, and they weren't given a manual. They weren't given your birth chart to go by. So all they had to go by in raising you was what they'd been taught from their ancestors and society. Now, especially if you're in your 40s, 50s, and 60s, there wasn't very much education around about how to raise children, what would affect their self-esteem. Nothing like what's out there today. So here you are, this beautiful, true self, full of life, full of love, ready to discover his or her world. And all that's been given to you is a set of rules, a group of fears. This is how we do it, is being said to you as this beautiful, innocent light. And not knowing and not remembering who you are, you've taken on that set of beliefs, traits that your caregivers gave you. And then you took those traits, fears, idiosyncrasies out into the world, and you tried to operate from that platform that you'd been taught. And perhaps a lot of those things you've been taught actually go against the grain of who you truly are, who your true self is. It doesn't work. And we come up after obstacle after obstacle after obstacle after obstacle, doing what we were thought was right, what we were taught to do to live in this world, but it just doesn't work for us. And then along comes your Pluto transit, gently touches you on the shoulder and says, we've got to go deeper. None of this is working because it doesn't belong to you. This belongs to your ancestors. And Pluto says, I'm going to lead you into the depths to find yourself so that you can make choices from the truth of who you truly are, rather than the truth of all of these different traits and fears and idiosyncrasies that have been handed down to you from your ancestors who didn't know any better at the time. It's big work and it takes time. So I've got a couple of points that you'll need to embark on your inner child work. It's also called reparenting, because remember, you were parented with a whole bunch of set of beliefs and fears and idiosyncrasies that may not be in alignment with who you truly are, what you are here to do, to bring to the world and shine to the world with your unique tone. So we will be reparenting ourselves with this Pluto transit, especially to the sun, because it's our ego. It is where all these traits, fears, and idiosyncrasies sit. We act from those fake beliefs, traits, idiosyncrasies, and wonder why they don't work for us. So we will need to reparent ourselves, remembering not beating up our parents. This is the work that we need to do. They didn't know any better. You will need a safe space to do this work. You will need a safe living environment where you can allow these energies to come up and through your body, because that's what they are. They are stuck energies. And Pluto, when Pluto connects and your transit starts, the energies will start flowing through you, bringing up memories. So you need a safe space where you can process what's brought to the surface. You'll need your awareness on board too, that this is what you're doing. Not just for a second a day or what have you. It's a focus. Okay, my inner child work has started and this is where I'm at the moment. Yes, I have other things to do in life, to live life. I have responsibilities if I have children, business, family. However, number one, Pluto is requiring the evolution of yourself and myself. We need to have a connection to a higher power, whether that's a religious deity that you have, whether you are aware of your I am presence, your higher self. There needs to be a power greater than you, because most times with our inner child work, we realize we don't love ourselves. So we need another point of reference that represents love, unconditional love. Because as we delve deeper, we find that we have a program running over and over in our head, which in this 12-step group ACA is called the critical parent. And when we are living in our unconscious, our subconscious, before Pluto shows us and brings up the depths of these beliefs from our unconscious, subconscious, we're going to need that higher power to lean on. We need something to lean on other than ourselves. This critical parent, critical voice is so strong and has etched itself into our programming that it is just like a record running round and round and round. So we need awareness to be able to see and hear that voice. Hear more so than see, but I can see it. I can see that round and round and round voice, even though I don't believe it. We need time. This is not overnight work. Hence, Pluto moves so slowly, and I've mentioned before there's a reason for that, because it's quite, it's really empowering work on the other side of this. But as these revelations come through into our body and into our conscious awareness, they can be quite shocking. So we can go through waves where we're processing one area of our inner child work, and then we have a reprieve, which we need to have a reprieve, because the emotional energy moving through our body and our DNA and cells has been there for a very long time. And I believe, as souls that are having a very challenging Pluto aspect, we are old souls. We're ready for this work. We're ready to release all that old baggage, as they call it. However, these are just beliefs, fears, idiosyncrasies that have been passed down to us from our generation, our ancestors. So it's generational work. We need to have a commitment to this healing. We need to commit to this. You know, I could say, yes, you need to commit to this, but Pluto doesn't give you a choice. The pain is excruciating, as I've mentioned before, as it moves through the body. So we take a commitment that we are going to heal, because we don't want to feel like this anymore. We don't want to carry this baggage around. It becomes very, very heavy and very obvious. It becomes extremely obvious dysfunctional behavior that once upon a time we thought was just us. We had no awareness that that behavior, those beliefs, were actually affecting our day-to-day life here and now. We need to be brave. We need to be very brave, and we need to have that desire to heal, but also a desire to fall in love with ourselves. Because for a long time, society has poked and highlighted what's wrong with ourselves. We really need to get to the nitty-gritty and fall in love with ourselves. And, you know, that can take waking up every day, going to the mirror. I love you. Yes, it feels very weird at first. Louise Hay, look her up on YouTube. She's got lots of exercises, God love her, regarding self-love and self-talk. We need patience with ourselves. We need to be very patient with ourselves as we go through this process and dig up the depths of our soul. We need kindness for ourselves. This takes time. Maybe we need to get through the process of discovering that we actually hate ourselves. This is true. I hated myself. I understood then, why did I hate myself? Well, my family hated themselves. They projected hate onto me. Therefore, they must have hated themselves. However, you have the power to turn all that around and to start learning to love yourself. It is a practice. This is new behaviors, and it takes time. And along the way, we will release our victimization. As we dig, and all of the past comes up into our conscious awareness, we really can go through a stage of feeling like the victim. And that's very natural. That is okay. that you will pass that victimization. As you become more aware of Pluto's intentions in your life, you'll start then to move towards how wonderful it is that you're now free of other people's beliefs, fears, idiosyncrasies, and you're working out of your true self. You have choices from that true self space that you didn't have. They were there, the choices, but you couldn't access those choices. But after doing the inner child work, you will be free. That's the whole idea. So that you can say no without guilt. You can say yes without fear of what others think of you. It is a freedom transit, Pluto, after you've gone down and dug deep. A lot of people who have had the Pluto transit, and please read the comments in my videos, because people really are generous with their experiences. You're not alone. Many people mention the fact that in their Pluto dark transit, they had to learn about narcissism. Many people have beautiful souls, beautiful, pure souls. They are just acting out of their traits that they were taught. To actually experience people in their true selves, they have no desire to hurt another, no desire to have power over another. They would much prefer to have power within. However, when you're an empath, highly empathic, highly sensitive person, you will meet a lot of narcissists before Pluto's transit comes along to expose that energy. It's not them or us. The narcissists have a place in this world. Narcissism has shown me my strength, has shown me where I needed to love myself. Narcissism has shown me where I've given my power over to others, all because they're a little bit more of a bully than I was. So you may have to dig deep into narcissism, not to point the finger at others, but to see and take responsibility of where you've handed your power over. You have been all trusting, all giving, heart on the sleeve, yes, world, here I am, come get me, without any discernment. Yes, there is darkness on this planet, and that is what Pluto is here to show you. There is darkness, even though you, beautiful soul, have no intentions of harming others, just merely about going about your way. You're getting knocked here and there by narcissism or people's bullying, and you wonder why. I'm a good person. Why is that happening to me? Because there's a few things that we're missing, and usually that leads back to self-love, self-care, and discernment. These are things that you'll learn on your inner child journey. You could also look at this journey from another perspective, a higher perspective, that you are the soul. You've taken on a human project. You have chosen a family that is going to help you, and they're going to help you by rubbing up against and triggering certain parts of your makeup that will be triggered, that need to be looked at by yourself as the I am presence observer of the human project that you've taken on. You've chosen parents that will help you to become a more evolved soul by the end of this life. And that's really all that they've done. All of the pain that we have felt from others was there as a mirror to teach us. And once we've learned, we won't be triggered anymore. They can't hurt us anymore, because the number one thing is self-love. Self-love. And to self-love, we need to go back to the beginning of our childhood. And if you have memories of previous soul work, even better. Get to know your ancestors. They carry a big key of the work that you will be doing in this life. It's big work and it's tough work. What I'm actually going to do is read out some traits to you, and I will put the website details of ACA in the description box. Now, this is just one area, but the 12-step group ACA offers you the ability to do this work online and free, donation only. Okay, you can turn up when you want to. You don't even need to speak. You don't have to put your camera on unless that group requires it. You can just listen. But by listening to other people who are doing this inner child work, that will trigger you into understanding your own self and bring this darkness up into the light, where it loses power in the light. It has no power anymore. And Pluto transit Aquarius. Aquarius rules the collective. This is what the collective are going to be going through in 20 years. They are going to be seeing the darkness that humanity has been carrying, blaming each other for. However, it is all part of our human projects that we are moving through. So there's 14 traits here, and this is just an idea of the start of inner child work. ACA shows you these traits and then says, how many of them do you identify with? You may not identify with any of them, but there is another list, because remember, there's power over and power within. So some people who aren't bullies, who are the passive person in a relationship, you know, they can also act like the bully. So it's a huge area to unpack. They call these the laundry list traits in ACA. There's a couple of other guys too that I'll leave. Jerry Wise. I'll leave a little list of people that have helped me online that you may be interested yourselves. Okay. All right. So number one, we became isolated and afraid of people and authority figures. So we've already covered isolation in one of my videos. 2, we became approval seekers and lost our identity in the process. 3, we are frightened by angry people and any personal criticism. 4, we either become alcoholics, marry them, or both, or find another compulsive personality, such as a workaholic, to fulfill our sick abandonment needs. So it's not just obvious addictions that we can get caught up with. People who will not validate us, we don't need to be around. That's your inner child work. How many people have we chosen in our life that are rude to us, that bully us, that do not validate us? That's your inner child work. 5, we live life from the viewpoint of victims and are attracted by that weakness in our love and friendship relationships. Here we are running around thinking we're helping people. Really, we're helping people that should be helping themselves. We feel victimized, so we trauma bond with other people who are victims in their own lives. Self-prophesized victims. 6, we have an overdeveloped sense of responsibility, and it is easier for us to be concerned with others rather than ourselves. This enables us to not look too closely at our own fault set. Running around, helping others, being overly responsible, calling it service, and keeping so busy that we don't have time to look at ourselves. And we feel like we're doing okay because we're running around taking responsibility for people less fortunate than ourselves. It's a fine line between service. 7, we get guilt feelings when we stand up for ourselves instead of giving in to others. We are in patterns with people, and sometimes we just say it's easier just to let them have their way, especially parents. Each time we do that, we're giving our power away. Pluto wants us to pull our power back, our fragmented selves. Pull it back. We are whole, but pull back those scattered pieces of ourselves that have fragmented ourselves, having us believe that we're not whole. Number 8, we become addicted to excitement. That is a gut response, addiction to excitement. That's happened from childhood. Drama, drama, drama. We can't live in a quiet, peaceful life. We have to have something going on all the time. We attract people that have drama going on all the time. It activates gut chemicals. That's physiological. That needs to be detoxed. We need to get away from other people's drama and stop creating drama ourselves. This is all part of the inner child work. 9, we confuse love and pity and tend to love people we can pity and rescue because we've found a place for ourselves. They need us. Abandoning ourselves. With every one of these traits, we are abandoning ourselves. Pluto wants us to come back in and hold space for ourselves because we will have to hold space. Nobody else is going to do this for you. A counselor, psychologist will help, or a support group, a healthy support group. 10, we have stuffed our feelings from our traumatic childhoods and have lost the ability to feel or express our feelings because it hurts so much. We can stuff this inner child down so deeply that we have no concept of what even an inner child is, especially if this was done in our early lives. I lay claim to that. My emotional body stuffed down. Easy to do. I'm a Capricorn. The pain, it's got to come up. Otherwise, it'll implode from within and we'll get sick. 11, we judge ourselves harshly and have a very low sense of self-esteem. 12, we are dependent personalities who are terrified of abandonment and will do anything to hold on to a relationship in order not to experience painful abandonment feelings, which we receive from living with sick people who were never there emotionally for us. There's not much we can do about that now other than go and have a look at it, own the fact that we were abandoned emotionally. And then the reparenting side comes in where we now have to hold ourselves up. We have to not abandon ourselves, even though we were taught to do that. We relearn, reparent how to validate our own selves, our own feelings. 13, alcoholism is a family disease. We became para-alcoholics and took on the characteristics of that disease, even though we did not pick up the drink. 14, para-alcoholics are reactors rather than actors. I love that word, para-alcoholic. In ACA, that means being a drama queen, acting as if you're an alcoholic or an addict or any addiction without having the addiction, just having the behavioral traits without actually acting out the addiction. But these traits were taught to us from our ancestors. And it's very interesting. If you go back through the ancestors, you know, having Indigenous ancestors, I'm very much aware of the women that were raped. I experienced it in my life, randomly from left field. Nothing I was doing wrong. These things all repeat themselves until a soul in a family says, no, I'm going to overcome this. I'm going to lose those traits, beliefs, idiosyncrasies, fears. I don't want those anymore. They're not a part of my true self and who I believe I am, what I believe I am. So it's deep, deep work. I expect we'll do more on the inner child. I will put details in the description box if you're looking for ACA. I am not saying that's where you should go. There's lots of people doing inner child work. However, this is ongoing, and I don't want it to have to cost you a lot of money because it's ongoing. Trauma isn't just fixed like that. It's been hanging out in our families, generation after generation after generation. If you're called upon as the soul in your family to work through these curses, so to speak, it's going to take time. It's going to take bravery. And look, I love you guys. You're the best. You're the best. You really are taking responsibility. And you're owning your Pluto transit. You're not falling apart. You're being built up in your power. Your true self-power. Your God power. What was intended for you when you came here. It's exciting. So thank you very much. Please subscribe. My videos are in the playlists. That's one way to find the videos. And if you'd like to donate, I'm going to pop a PayPal link underneath. No obligation. I'm not selling anything. So no scammers can tell you I'm giving a reading or anything like that. That's not what I do. I'm just sharing my experience, strength, and hope. And I currently have Pluto conjuncting my natal sun, but I felt this transit as soon as Pluto went into Capricorn in 2008, and I just started losing everything. So it was a big, big Pluto transit for me, and it never stopped. It never stopped. It was my focus for 15 years. So here I'm today, led to share it with you. Who knows where that will take us. All right. Namaste. Thank you. See you all soon.